Hey everyone, Jeff here, and today I'm going to show you how I have set up my pedal board and my amplifier to use the 4-cable method using my Amps effects loop. Let's check it out. As all of us, I love gear, so today I'm going to talk about how I am setting up my pedal board and my amplifier to take advantage of the Amps effects loop. Today I'm going to be using my Friedman JEL-50, which I freaking love this amp. I think it's an awesome rock amp. It's the Marshall style amp I always wanted, and now I've got it. Yes, I have an old Marshall, but it's a 100-watt super lead, and it is a beast. This is much more manageable, and it has an effects loop. So, first of all, what is the 4-cable method? Really simply, let's say you're going to plug your guitar into your amplifier and a few pedals. That's 2 cables, right? So you plug your guitar in, you got your overdrive pedal, your boost pedal, you got your wah pedal or something, then you plug that out, and you plug that in, you plug it into the front end of the amp. 2 cables. Other 2 cables run to the send and return of your amplifier's effects loop, and that puts your effects between your preamp and your power amp. And this is how often, if you're using preamp distortion, like the gain on an amp, you're going to get the overdriven sound, you're going to put your reverb and delay right here, and then you can make it loud with the power amp. Why this sounds so good is delay and reverb can sound kind of a bit messy, can sound very cool in front of the amplifier, but you can get those big, clean, longer delays and reverb. Let's think like David Gilmour, those singing delays, are usually coming after the overdrive. He uses pedals into a clean amp, but many guys, like Eddie, would have the whole amp on 10 or whatever, and then run it into something like a power amp, other side of the power amp like the power station, and then put his effects post his amplifier and then turn it all up. Your amp's effects loop does something similar to that. So, especially if you're using an amp with overdrive in it, you want to take advantage of that, you can get some really great sounding delays and reverbs. So let's check out how I am doing it. Before we get going, if you like the channel, hit the like and subscribe. It always helps out quite a bit. And I have my Blues Rock Masters course on special sale, 75% off. I'm going to go with the styles of Jimmy Page, Jimi Hendrix, David Gilmour, and Eric Clapton. So that's on sale using a special link above or below. So let's dig in. So the first thing I'm going to do, because when you put your amp on stage and you're looking from behind, is I'm going to put some tape on here, and I'm going to name all the inputs and outputs, because how many times have you been leaning over your amp and trying to figure out where the heck to plug this stuff in. So I've got some console tape, and I'm going to put it on the back. So let's do that. It'll be very, very exciting to watch. Now the thing I have to remember here, of course, is to put the markings in reverse. My first attempt, I didn't do that, so it kind of ruins it. So let's see if I can get that done this way. Okay, well, that's not the tiniest looking thing, but you get the idea. So I'm on a gig, I can see as I put my cables in. So let's check it out. So I'll put this here, I'm going to put my send in, my send right there, and I'm going to put in my return right here. I've got my speaker cable, which is going to be right here. Plug that on in. Got an 8-ohm cabinet, my THD 212 cabinet with creambacks in it. So, there you go. All right, so now let's flip the amp around. And now what you can't see is how easy it is to plug it in, because I've got the inputs and outputs marked on the back of the amplifier. Now I know I could have done this a lot better, but I went to Pedal Python and I put together a loom. So I put my send and return cables together in one loom, so that goes to the effects return of my amplifier, into the pedal board, send and returns. So just kind of 2 cables wrapped up in one. A little messy at the right now, but it's been cool. I know I could run all the cables through this, but I just started doing this, and I use different amps with different effects loops. So either my 2-Rock or the Friedman. So I didn't want to put everything in one because they use different cables. So that's the reason for that. But this really helps a lot. Keeps some of the clutter down. And yes, that's Pedal Python. Well, shout out to those guys. And you can see I labeled the inputs and outputs, so when I plug it in, I know what the heck is going on. All right, let's take a look at the signal flow. Here, my guitar signal is going into the octave pedal. Now, I like that going in first because with a buffer in front of it, the octavia just doesn't sound all that good. That comes out into my polytune, which has a buffer in it. That goes out into the univibe, out into the booty G, which is an overdrive, into the clon, which is an overdrive, which actually has its own buffer, and that goes out into the front of the amplifier. Now the effects send from the back of the amplifier goes into the Lely volume pedal. I think I pronounced that right. That goes out into the El Capistan delay, and then that goes into the UA Delver, which has both reverb and delay, and that goes out now into the return of my effects loop. So the effects that are in my loop is going to be this volume pedal, which can work as a master volume, as we'll see a little later, and reverb and delay. So these time, like the spatial effects, I like after overdrive in a loop. Some people like some time-based effects like chorus and I should say flanger and stuff. I usually like those before an amplifier. It sounds a little bit more vintage. So let's hear how it sounds. As always, I'm playing with my Michael Tuttle signature guitar. If you're interested in one of these on your own, check out the link below or give Michael a call over at Michael Tuttle Guitars. He makes such great stuff. Totally proud of this guitar, and I love it. Let's do the little kind of messy run through here. I'm once again playing through the Friedman JEL-50, the JEL-50. I really love this amp. It's got a plexi side, 2 channels, and the other side is like a JCM 800. And then there's a switch that you can pull out on the volume knob for a bit more of a modded 800 sound. I really like it. It's very raw. It sounds a lot like an old Marshall to me. Really love this amp. It's been a lot of fun, and it's much more manageable than, say, my big old Super Lead if you're talking about gigs. Definitely much more aggressive sounding than this JTM 45 to 20 watt, which is awesome sounding. So let's take a listen. Just playing straight through the amp on the plexi channel right now. So I'm going to add in some reverb. It's over here. I always like having a little bit of reverb when I play. So let's run through the pedals. So the first thing we got here, let me get this over here, is going to be the Octavia. Love that. Tuner. Can't live without a tuner. There you go. Now, in vibe. All right. Now I've got the Booty G, which is a really great, a bit of a sleeper pedal on the Vemram line. It's a great boost pedal, and it's a great just overall sound and overdrive. I think like Mike Lando's using one as well right now. Okay, there you go. Pretty cool, right? So I really love the Booty G. Now the amp I don't have the volume cranked. I've got it about 3 on the master volume, which is pretty loud in the real world. And I've got the gain side put up on 10, so it gets that kind of plexi sound. Now if I were to crank the volume of the amp more, by distorting my signal, it gets much more barky, which is really, really cool. But of course, you're cranking the amp and the power tubes are doing what they're supposed to be doing. I can't always do that on a gig, because this thing at 3, in the real world, like I said, on a gig, is pretty loud. So let's bring back to like where I would probably end up gigging with it right now in New York City. All right, so let's go back to the KTR. All right, so that sounds great. Really, that mid-forward pushing thing cuts out the low end a bit more. Great for cutting through the band together. So now, let's turn on the delay. So you can barely hear it right now. But as I bring in the expression pedal, So I have it really soft. Almost off. Here a little bit. So I'll get that a little more there. So the booty G. Ride it. Right, so it's really gotten really into that. I used to use a few presets, but I find this much easier to deal with live because live is always going to be different. Sometimes you set your effects at a certain level at home, then you get on the gig and you're like, wow, that's way too wet or way too dry. So it's also very easy to program if you get used to it. You just hold down the 2 foot switches and you can easily adjust how wet you want it to be on heel to toe on the expression pedal. Super easy to do. I've been using the El Capistan for years, so it's probably the delay I'm most comfortable with. But lots of great delays have that mix function. All right, so now, sometimes, like I said, I want a different delay, so I put this on the Delver. You can actually have 2 delays. If you want to do that. But what I like having this is just set, I like having the Delver just set for a particular thing, so I can use it anytime I want. Sometimes I have it for that kind of cool slapback that Robin Ford uses all the time to kind of thicken things up. On my last gig, I had it set for a particular tune, and that was really fun to do. All right, so now let's check out the overdriven side. So there's the higher gain side on the Jakey Lee. So this is the 800 side. I'll pull this out and get more overdrive. Usually run it in about there. Sometimes I've got a bright switch, I might want it a little darker. Turn up the treble a bit here. It's on middle. Now, usually the louder I go on the amp, the less gain I use. That's sort of a thing that happens, so I try to play it cleaner as possible. So that might be my live bass setting. As soon as I roll back my volume, it cleans up too. So let's talk about boosting the lead channel. So here, a little bit of delay on. Maybe darken that up a little bit. Slow it down. Now we're going to hit the booty G. More gain, I can switch either to the clon. And get that mids to really cut through. One thing I like doing sometimes too, have the booty G on, and then hit it with the clon. So it really gets that full gain, shreddy stuff, which I love having the option of being able to do. Now, if I want, I can get that real sort of Hendrixy thing going on. I'm going to turn on my Univibe, roll back to my volume. gain, roll back my volume. You can also go to the plexi channel, it sounds great there. So both really super useful and great. So depending on the gig, I might just stick to the plexi channel and some pedals, or I might use the overdrive side, depending on what I want, or both, which is cool. So I have a lot of great options. Now, you may ask, what's the volume pedal for? And this is something that's really cool. Something I picked up from, actually, listen to Mike Landau's rig. And that is, I have the volume pedal in the effects loop, and that controls the overall master volume. It acts like a master volume of the amplifier. All right, so I can have it really cranked and turn everything down, but the volume pedal is before the effects. So if I decide to turn everything down, I still have my trails. And it acts like a master volume. So I'm on the gig, and I'm not... Got somebody driving their motorcycle. If I'm on a gig, I set a little more headroom volume-wise, and I can ride everything with the volume pedal. Oh, it's a little loud? Okay. I can turn it down. It's a little sensitive. You got to get used to it, but I found it to be really, really useful. Also, I can set it as a lead boost. So this is really useful, especially if you want like a heavier rhythm tone. Right, I can ride that volume back a bit. So instead of getting all this gain boost in the front, I can ride how loud I want it. And for solo, you can get in. Right? Now if I want, I could go over the amp and hit the higher gain channel, higher gain function. Which is great for certain gigs. It's not kind of what I'm doing right now, but I have recorded with that on. And for me, if this amp doesn't have enough gain for you, you just hit a boost pedal. It's got more than enough gain. It sits exactly where I want it to be. It's sort of rough and tumble like a Marshall is, and not as kind of smoothed out. It's not like an idealized Marshall. It's some... I like Dave's amps a lot. The Friedman stuff's really great. Some of them are a little smoother than I like. I like this one because it's a little more, it's got the sharp edges, the elbows, which I like. All right, so let's hear them all on together. This. All right, so just kind of a fun run through of the pedal board using the 4-cable method. I do the same thing now, messing around with my 2-rock Bloomfield drive. I started getting into it. It's a bit more to carry onto a gig, which sometimes I get a little lazy about. But when you have some really nice sounding amps with overdrive, I really like having delay and reverb because of my trio. I get kind of atmospheric. I really like those sounds, and you can't really get those sounds when you're running in front of an effects loop. Now, if you are interested, a number of the pedals and amplifier I have are all available over at SWEETWATER. I have an affiliate link down below if you want to check any of those out. If you decide to pick one up through me, I get a little kickback, which is really helpful for me to keep the channel running, make a few dollars on the side on the affiliate link. So those are down below if you want to check them out. This is not a sponsored video. This is just if you want to help out the channel. That's one way to do it. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I just was having fun with it, so I wanted to share with you what I was doing. I used it on the last gig, and I really enjoyed it. So until next time, I'm Jeff. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you later.